it's Natalie. I am here today with Ryan Jordan, the founder and owner of Educated Nannies. And they don't just place nannies, they are now increasingly placing private educators. So hi, Ryan.
Hi, Natalie. It's so nice to see your face.
So good to see you too. Oh my goodness. So let's dive into this crazy pandemic world of private educators, micro schooling, pod schooling. What even is pod schooling or micro schooling?
Yeah, that's a great question and one that I'm getting every single day. So micro schooling is typically anywhere from 5 to 8 children, and it's more of the private curriculum. You're typically not following a public school curriculum or any curriculum. You're creating curriculum, and this is your own private school, where a learning pod, or a pod as people are calling them, is typically families who are following the homeschool that is provided by the school. So they're doing the virtual learning, or they're in their home and learning, they're in a space and learning, and the kids are typically in the same school or have the same curriculum, and they're all trying to learn as a group, so they have socialization and play.
So what is the process of putting together, like, how do you find a private educator?
Sure. So, you can find a private educator through a multitude of resources. You can ask teachers from your school. You can put an ad out on Peachhead. You can talk to your neighbors, or you can use an agency. Private educators are registering with us because they're excited about the idea of being placed in a home by, their hand being held, by safety reasons, because we're checking in with our families. We have relationships. I do virtual visits now, where I used to do home visits and meet everybody in person. Now it's changed to Zoom interviews with candidates and clients.
So what are people looking for? What should people be looking for as far as an educator? Are there certain qualifications or experience they need to have?
Yeah. So when I was first getting calls, people were like, I need a master's in education and a teaching credential. Well, that's not necessarily true if you have a preschool student. I would be more focused on somebody who's play-based, who has been a preschool teacher, maybe has some early childhood education credits, maybe has, a background in education or child development, maybe an AA in child development, maybe working towards their certifications. But I don't think you need somebody with a master's degree at that level. Now, if you're looking for, calculus tutor, well, then you might want to have somebody who is a single subject major in math and understands that curriculum. Or if, you're trying to place a kinder pod, you want somebody who is an elementary teacher and has a proven track record of lesson planning and assessing students and taking them to the next level. So I would say there's a big variety. And then there's also the reality of everyone in public school or private school will have their lead teacher. If you're enrolled in a school, you have your lead teacher. So you need somebody such as an educated nanny to help with executive functioning, making sure that the child is organized, following the virtual learning plans, making sure that a child is logged in, and then doing some supplemental homework support. So I think there's a big variety of ways you can do this.
What are we talking about as far as cost for some of these educators?
Yeah, so the market got really competitive over the last week when this has been a service I've been doing for 5 years. So, what was once $25 an hour moved to $30 to $35 to $40 to $50 to $60 an hour. Now I have some families that are saying, I just want to do this for a semester. I'll pay up to $100. Find me somebody great for just the semester. Well, the costs are going to be higher for a semester because the reality is after that semester is over, that teacher has to quarantine between families, possibly COVID test and wait for the results. We have no idea. I'm hearing rapid test results in 24 hours, 30 minutes. I have somebody who did CVS and waited 10 days. We don't know where the testing, hopefully it's going to be advanced and we're going to have fast results. But the reality is we don't know. And so I'm saying right now, if you have a pod of kids that are 4 to 5, and I'm saying cap this because I'll go into that second. But the pricing is anywhere from $40 up to $80 an hour. That seems to be the rates. And then I'll go into the pod numbers. A lot of people are calling me with like 9 or 10 people, but unless you're starting a micro school and really doing this right, following all of the laws and everything, that's not what people are doing. They're creating pods of 9 or 10 kids, and then an educator's saying to themselves, wait, how many curriculums do I have to follow? How much exposure do I have now? And, families are calling me and saying, we're going to have 10 kids and we're going to alternate houses 3 days a week. And it's like, no. The whole reason we're doing this is for safety reasons due to COVID. If you open up one educator to, 5 different families, and maybe one of their older kids is going to a school, or younger kids is still in preschool that's open. Now this educator has exposed themselves to all the people. And then you go into somebody's home and maybe the grandparents are over, or they have a nanny, or they have a housekeeper. You have to think about the private educators too. What is safest for them at this time? And then I also understand people have to save costs. And so maybe, people pot up with siblings, so you can have both of your kids taught with somebody else who's the same age, and then hire an educator. So it's only 2 families, but 4 kids are being taught.
So as far as hiring a private educator, if you're in a pod, is it one family that takes on the responsibility of hiring them?
Oh, definitely not, because here's the reality. If you have an employee, one person should be responsible for workman's comp. So wherever the location is at the home, that person is responsible for workman's comp. But hopefully they have it for other people that work in their home too. Like if you have a housekeeper or a nanny, that's something that you want to have in place. And then everybody should make this person a W-2 employee for liability, for unemployment, and just because it's the right legal thing to do. So if somebody is, I'm going to do basic math, but say somebody makes $40 an hour and there's 4 kids. And so everyone should be paying $10 an hour. And I checked with our payroll service and they said, as long as it doesn't have to be minimum wage, each family, as long as the total amount is over minimum wage. So it's going to pay if you all pay $10 an hour. That's the advice that I'm getting from our payroll service. But again, I'm telling everyone, check with your payroll service, check with your attorneys. Laws and things change.
Is there anything else people should research or educate themselves on before they jump into this? Is there anything else they should consider for their child?
Yeah, I know that there's licensing rules. I know that there's zoning rules. I think everybody should look into those. I also think that, people should research how their child learns best. Like what kind of child, what kind of learner do you have? Are they a kinesthetic learner? Are they, an auditory processor? Do they have sensory processing issues? This is also another thing that we have to look at, children that have IEPs or have special needs or need accommodations. Is this going to be the best way for them to learn? So I think we're all going to be adapting this year and growing this year. And I think, where everyone's going to try their best for each day. That's all you can do. And I think this is just going to be a different kind of year.
Thank you so much for your expertise and your educating us all. And again, Ryan is the founder and the owner of Educated Nannies. So jump onto educatednannies.com and give yourself some education on all things private educators.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Ryan.